Hello and welcome to STEM with Seb. Today we are going to be having a look at the electronics and where they go on the boards. First we are starting with F. So there is a servo which goes into this hole right here, just like so. And you want to use one of these long slender bolts and put that in just like so. Then you want to grab the matching nut and put that on there just like so. Now for this one I would recommend using your cross wrench, which goes over it like this. Then as long as you keep the bolt in the right position and as well as the nut, unlike what I just did, it will tighten and secure onto it. Now if it ever gets stuck in like mine, you can always just put in the bolt of the right size and then it will come out just like that. Now attempt 2. Then you grab your other one and repeat the process on the other side. Apologies if I'm holding it really up high, it's because I need to be able to see it with quite easily. Once you've got that in place, you can grab your acrylic gear and then put that on. Then you can put the matching screw for the servos, which should come in its own packet along with the servos, and then put that in there. Now you'll find that there's 3 screws that come in the servos packet. You want to use the smallest one, as it's designed for this specific attachment point. And now it will work. And that is also F done. Next we will move on to H. Now if you're wondering why I've missed out some letters, it's because they don't have any connection points for their electronics. Now with H we're going to attach the LGB module using the M4 by 8mm round head screw and using the M4 nickel plated nut. Now all of these connections that are for most of the electronics are really easy to make. You just have to grab the correct bolt in the correct or corresponding nut and then put them on like that. Next we are moving on to I, which is one of the pieces that have 4 on, and it's one of the roof pieces. Now for the roof pieces, when we get to building the whole thing, it's going on last because of the electronics. Anyway, with the motor, which goes here, I've put on the fan ready for when it goes on. Now the fan is very fragile, so when you're putting this on beforehand, make sure you take care. Now, same as with the LEDs, you get the bolts and you get the nuts, and then I believe the correct word is thread the bolts on. And there you have it, the motor's on. Next, the temperature and humidity sensor, which goes right underneath where it says 6. Now, I have a feeling that most of these have numbers for what order they are wanting to be put in. It doesn't really matter what order you've put them in because I've built this before, and I've deconstructed it for these videos so that you can see what to do. Now, you don't want to get any of these steps wrong after the main construction has finished, because it is really hard to take apart. Anyway, next we're going on to the yellow LED. LED stands for light emitting diode, and it's made yellow by a filter which is commonly used in stuff like TVs or screens to make sure that you get the correct colour light. Like, there's even nanoparticle filters. Now, there are 2 types of filters, light filters and other particle filters. We'll talk more on those in another video. Please hit the subscribe button and leave a like if you're liking my videos, and please support the channel. Next, we're going to put on the steam sensor, which is basically a touch plate. Now, there are pads and then there are grooves in between them. Those grooves stop the electric current from passing through. And when something fills in those grooves, the electric current can then pass through. So say I put my finger on it when there was electric current, it would allow the current to flow through. And as long as it's not too high, it won't be much of a problem. And there you have it, piece uncompleted. Next we are moving on to piece J, which only has 3 pieces, including the power box. First, we are going to assemble the smaller pieces, the buzzer and the gas sensor. First, we're going to start off with the passive buzzer. It's called passive because, unlike regular buzzers, this requires an external oscillator or vibrator to produce sound. Hence why it is called passive. And like a regular buzzer, it also only works when there's a current flowing through it. Now that that's on, we can then move on to the analog gas sensor. Same process, just that it's a little bigger. So, put the bolt through the holes again, grab the nuts, secure the nuts in place. And there you have it. This side is almost completed. Last but not least, on this side, the battery pack. Now, this goes, I do believe, like that. So that for the board here, when it's connected, it can just go and plug in onto the side. Now, this uses the exact same screw, so there's no difference. sorry, they don't use the same screw, they use a slightly smaller screw that there is quite a lot of, just not as plentiful as this one. Cut this bit out. These are not so long. What's for the last of the circles? Those? These could be my saving. Now, these are actually the correct screws. There's only two that I can see of them, which makes it perfect for what we're using them for. Now, you probably want to put them into where the batteries go first, just like so, then put them onto the board as it is very fiddly. Apologies for any audio quality issues, I have a cold. And there you have it, battery pack connected. Now, when you eventually finish assembly, it will come around the back and kind of be in like that. Because if I grab this, that's where this goes, then this goes in there, as you can see, just like so. And now piece J is completed. Now we're going to do piece K. Now we're going to start off with this board, as it requires an extra wooden piece to be put in place. Now, if you've tried assembling this before you've seen this video, here's a reason why you might have been struggling with this. These bumps stop it from going in properly, so if I grab piece K, it will just go a little outside. But because piece B is the right shape to fit and perfectly allow it to do that, when you put it in with this on, it fits in perfectly. So first you want to grab not those screws. Yeah, these screws. And you want to then grab your board and, like all of them, put it into the right place. Now, it will be easy to find out what piece you need because there'll be the right number for it if it's a different sized hole and a different length. Like for these pieces, I easily found out that it was these because of the length. Now I wouldn't recommend putting in all 4 at once. I'm just doing it because I want to. Just like so. Then you want to grab the correct nut. And then very carefully put it on, because this is almost as delicate as the board that we're going to be using shortly. Just like so, half of them are done. Then you can go focus on the other 2, make sure they're in the right position. Last one. And done. So now we just have to attach the button modules and the PIR sensor and the RFID. I'm going to first do the RFID, and it goes indented, so it comes in from the back side, like so. Now the process is just the same, but the only difference is the actual things on the inside instead of on the outside like all the others. But yeah, same bolts, same nuts. And just like so. Now, just repeat this for the last few pieces that are here. Now it is a button, so you can press on the pieces. We'll grab that in a second. I'm very quickly going off camera to retrieve that nut. Alright, got the nut back. And it's on. Now for the last one, the PIR motion sensor. Now if you're wondering what all these holes are, just below where the connection point is, these little pokey bits coming out, now that is where the wire goes through when we eventually connect it up to the motherboard. And now we have it. Piece K done, and last but not least, piece M. Now, I would suggest putting in the servo first, as you may find it hard to put in the screw closest to where the motherboard goes, also known as the ESP32 board. There's one to the servo. And there's two to the servo. Now, I also suggest before putting in the motherboard, you put in the gear that I have once again pre-assembled, just like so. And I would recommend when it comes to both of them, you put the nail through the actual cog first before attaching the frame. Anyway, now that that's done, just gotta grab another screw, just like the one you used for the other one of the smallest screws that comes with the packet for the servos, and then attach it. Back in a second, just going to retrieve that. Right, and once you've retrieved it back, if you dropped it as well, just continue doing what you were trying to do beforehand. Right, and once you've got that done, here's the cool trick the designers did to get this up to these holes. Because this, when attached, is just a little lower than where it needs to be. So the designers have thought of an interesting solution to get one bolt, put it through, and grab a double nut where you can put two bolts in at one point. So then you can put another bolt on the other side, right here, and then attach it on. Now, depending on what you're like, you could do it attached to the board first, or attached to the other board first. I would prefer to do it to the ESP board because it makes the process a little easier when assembling, in my opinion. And now, all that's left to do is attach it to board N. And it will go in like this. Now, I would recommend first putting one through the board, the wooden board, then putting it onto the ESP development board. Just like so. And now it's easy to do the rest of them. Now it gets even easier as you do more, because for the next ones it will be in the correct position instantly. So all you have to do is drop it in and then screw it in. So just that was a bad example, but you get what I mean. Now conveniently I had one just chilling out, so I'll go retrieve that one in a minute. Next time we will assemble all these pieces onto board G, the baseboard, along with attaching it to the door, attaching it to piece A, and piece L will be standing out on the side because that's the other roof part. We are not putting in the roof parts until the wire is done. Thank you for watching.